The NFL's multi-million-dollar bribe to stop players from protesting is backfiring. At least 25 players either sitting, kneeling, or raising a fist during the national anthem during Sunday football games.
All right, this comes after the NFL agreed last week to commit $89 million to a so-called social justice program and those causes in hopes of stopping the protests.
Well, our next guest says that payout is just a big political stunt. Joining us right now to discuss is national spokesperson for the Committee to Defend the President, Amanda Head, joining us today from Los Angeles. Amanda, what do you mean that close to $100 million payout is just a political stunt?
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. So this was basically a bartering tool that the NFL used in a more casual sense. They said, OK, we're going to donate this money. If you guys please stand. OK, guys, please stand. And they kind of got the shaft all the way around because, as you said, 25 players were still kneeling or some sort of, fist in the air or something yesterday. So the NFL players are basically saying, yeah, we'll take your money, but we're going to kneel on it.
So, Amanda, $100 million is a lot of money. And in my opinion, social justice causes is sort of code word for Marxist causes, organizations probably that just encourage minorities and inner city kids to think they're victims versus empowering them.
Yes, and that victimhood mentality is number 4 on my list. I was going to talk about the top 3. The top 3 problems that I feel are the most important in the black community, which I don't think any of this $90 million is going to touch. It's black-on-black crime. It's the fact that 3 out of 4 children born in black communities are born to single-parent households, and also the exceedingly higher dropout rate. These are the things that they ought to be addressing, but I really don't think that any of this money or much of it is going to go towards that. But if you want to take it one step further for these NFL players, if they want to do something more specific to help these causes, this was predicated on police brutality. That was the first issue that was raised, and that's been carried out throughout the entire season of this. So, all right, players, so why don't you drop out of the NFL and join law enforcement? But they're not going to do that because that would require them to remove themselves from the pedestal from which they pontificate to us average Americans, pretending that they know better than we do.
What's your reaction to the ACLU naming Colin Kaepernick, giving him an award last night? He actually showed up for it, for risking losing his job. Here are his comments from the dinner.
We must confront systemic oppression as a doctor would a disease. You identify it, you call it out, you treat it, and you defeat it. We all have an obligation, no matter the risk and regardless of reward, to stand up for our fellow men and women who are being oppressed, with the understanding that human rights cannot be compromised. In the words of Frederick Douglass, if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
Do you agree with what he's doing? Do you put it in the Frederick Douglass category?
I don't. And, unfortunately, I'm not really surprised by this. I'm disappointed by him continuing to be awarded for his prostrate behavior, to use a biblical term there. But it's not really all that surprising because the ACLU is not really known for diversifying their pool of people who receive awards.
Amanda, Frederick Douglass also said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, which goes to your point that this would have been better. This money would have been spent better going to programs that help build up the black family, which is so broken right now.
Yeah, we need 2-parent households. All of these black players, I know that they like to hold pop culture figures up as well as other athletes. So Tupac Shakur did an interview in the 90s where he talked about how he would have been a much different and better man if he had had a father in his household. And at the root of all of this, it comes down to the breakdown of the family, which doesn't exist to the degree that it used to in black communities.
All right. Amanda, we thank you very much for joining us today to talk about your op-ed and so much